By the early spring of 1944, World War II had raged across continents for nearly 5 years. Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany controlled most of Western Europe, but the tide was slowly turning. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union had borne the brunt of the German war machine, suffering immense casualties while slowly pushing the Wehrmacht back. Stalin pressed his Western allies relentlessly for the opening of a second front to relieve this immense pressure. For years, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt had been planning a massive cross-channel invasion. This undertaking, codenamed Operation Overlord, would be the largest amphibious assault in history. Its primary objective was clear: to liberate France, crush Nazi Germany's stranglehold on Western Europe, and ultimately hasten the end of the war. The immense logistical and strategic challenges were unprecedented, demanding meticulous planning and an unwavering commitment from the Allied powers. The target was the beaches of Normandy, France. This coastal region, with its relatively flat terrain behind the beaches, offered suitable ground for a large-scale landing. Despite being heavily fortified by German defenses known as the Atlantic Wall at the helm of this colossal undertaking was Supreme Allied Commander General Dwight D. Eisenhower. His leadership was crucial in unifying the diverse Allied forces, comprising American, British, Canadian, and other nations' troops into a cohesive fighting force. Ground forces were commanded by British General Bernard Montgomery, who meticulously planned the invasion's intricate phases. Naval operations fell under the astute direction of Admiral Sir Bertram Ramsay, while Air Chief Marshal Sir Trafford Lee Mallory coordinated the vast aerial support. Facing them was the formidable German High Command in the West, under Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt. Crucially, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, commander of Army Group B, was tasked with bolstering the Atlantic Wall. Believing the invasion must be stopped on the beaches before it could gain a foothold, Rommel intensely reinforced the coastal defenses with concrete bunkers, artillery positions, anti-tank obstacles, millions of mines, and intricate wire entanglements. These formidable preparations aimed to repel any invasion attempt directly on the shore. To achieve surprise, the Allies executed Operation Bodyguard, a sophisticated deception campaign. This involved creating phantom armies, like the 1st U.S. Army Group, FUSAG, under General George S. Patton, positioned in southeastern England, to convince the Germans the main invasion would strike Pas de Calais, the narrowest point of the English Channel. Fake radio traffic, dummy landing craft, and double agents all played their part in misleading German intelligence. This elaborate ruse was highly successful, diverting crucial German panzer divisions away from Normandy until well after the invasion had begun. The critical decision to launch on June 6, 1944, fell to General Eisenhower. Adverse weather forecasts on June 5th forced a postponement, but a brief window of improved conditions for the 6th, though still far from ideal, led to his iconic command. "Okay, let's go." In the pre-dawn hours of June 6th, the invasion began with airborne assaults. The American 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions parachuted into the Cottonton Peninsula, west of Utah Beach. Their mission was to secure causeways, bridges, and disrupt German communications. Despite widespread drops and intense fighting against scattered German forces, the American paratroopers achieved many of their objectives, albeit at a high cost. Their actions sowed confusion among German defenders and paved the way for the seaborne landings. Simultaneously, the British 6th Airborne Division landed east of Sword Beach. Their critical tasks included seizing the Bénouville Bridge, now famously known as Pegasus Bridge, over the Orne Canal, and destroying the Merville Gun Battery, which threatened Sword Beach. The daring glider-borne assault on Pegasus Bridge secured this vital crossing intact, preventing German panzer divisions from rapidly counterattacking the eastern flank. The Merville Battery was also neutralized after fierce fighting, opening the way for the seaborne invasion. As dawn broke, a thunderous naval bombardment commenced at 05:37, unleashing a barrage from battleships, cruisers, and destroyers upon German coastal defenses. Following this, thousands of landing craft, carrying approximately 156,000 Allied troops, began their perilous journey towards the 5 designated landing zones. These zones were codenamed Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. The American forces were assigned Utah and Omaha beaches on the western flank, while British and Canadian forces targeted Gold, Juno, and Sword beaches on the eastern flank. At Utah Beach, elements of the U.S. 4th Infantry Division, part of the American 7th Corps, faced relatively light resistance. An accidental drift southward by the landing craft placed them in a less heavily defended sector, leading to significantly lower casualties than anticipated. Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt, Jr., the only general to land in the first wave, famously declared, "We'll start the war from right here." By the end of the day, Utah Beach was secured with a strong foothold, and links were established with the paratroopers of the 101st Airborne Division, Omaha Beach. However, proved to be the most brutal and unforgiving of the landing zones. Elements of the U.S. 1st and 29th Infantry Divisions, under the American V Corps, faced a catastrophic combination of factors. The preliminary naval and air bombardments had been largely ineffective against the deeply entrenched German 352nd Infantry Division, positioned on towering bluffs overlooking the beach. The formidable concrete Widerstands nests, WNs like WN-62, bristled with MG-42 machine guns and artillery. Amphibious DD tanks, designed to provide initial fire support, largely sank in the rough seas. Before reaching shore, troops disembarking from their Higgins boats, LCVP, and larger landing craft, LCA, were immediately cut down by relentless crossfire. The beach became a death trap, littered with casualties and wrecked equipment. For hours, the situation hung precariously, with Allied commanders considering withdrawing. "If you're staying here, you're going to die. So let's go up," urged Colonel George A. Taylor of the 1st Infantry Division. In individual acts of immense bravery, small groups of American soldiers, often under heavy fire, found gaps in the German defenses. They scaled the bluffs, dislodged machine gun nests, and slowly began to open narrow exits from the beach. By nightfall, a tenuous, deeply contested foothold had been established on Omaha, but at an incredibly high cost with thousands of casualties. It was a grim testament to the sheer will and sacrifice of the American fighting men. To the east, at Gold Beach, the British 50th Northumbrian Infantry Division, part of the British XXX Corps, encountered significant German resistance, particularly around Le Hamel and La Rivière. However, effective use of specialized Hobart's Funnies tanks helped clear obstacles. The British forces steadily pushed inland, capturing key objectives and securing Arromanches, the future site of the Mulberry Bee Artificial Harbor. They established a robust beachhead and began to link up with Canadian forces to their west. Juno Beach, assaulted by the Canadian 3rd Infantry Division, supported by British commandos, also saw fierce fighting. The Canadian forces faced concrete emplacements and heavy machine gun fire from the German 716th Static Infantry Division, suffering the highest casualty rate of the British-Canadian beaches. Despite the heavy losses, the Canadian troops achieved remarkable breakthroughs, penetrating further inland than any other Allied unit on D-Day, reaching the Camp Bayou Road. However, consolidating these deep gains proved challenging under sustained German counterattacks. Finally, at Sword Beach, the British 3rd Infantry Division, also supported by commandos, faced strong German positions, including elements of the veteran German 21st Panzer Division. Progress was slower than planned, and the objective of capturing Caen on D-Day was not met. Nevertheless, by the end of June the 6th, the British secured a solid beachhead and successfully linked up with the British 6th Airborne Division on their eastern flank, consolidating the critical eastern sector of the invasion front. By midnight on D-Day, approximately 156,000 Allied troops had landed on the shores of Normandy. 5 distinct beachheads had been secured, albeit not yet fully linked into a continuous front. The Germans, still reeling from the deception and initial shock, struggled to mount an effective, coordinated counterattack. The immediate aftermath of D-Day saw the Allies clinging precariously to their hard-won gains. The battle for Normandy would rage for another 2.5 months, a brutal campaign of hedgerow fighting, attrition, and strategic maneuvering. Allied casualties on D-Day itself totaled around 10,000 men killed, wounded, or missing, with Omaha Beach accounting for a significant portion. German casualties are estimated to be between 4,000 and 9,000. Although precise figures are difficult to ascertain, the strategic impact was immense. D-Day successfully opened the vital Second Front in Western Europe, relieving pressure on the Soviet Union and forcing Nazi Germany to fight a war on two massive fronts. It marked the beginning of the end for the Third Reich. The human cost, however, was immeasurable. The invasion and subsequent Battle of Normandy left hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians dead, wounded or displaced, devastating the Norman countryside and forever altering countless lives. D-Day stands as one of the most decisive and complex military operations in human history. It is a testament to the extraordinary courage, meticulous planning, and technological innovation demonstrated by the Allied forces. The lessons learned from D-Day continue to resonate. The critical importance of combined arms operations, the power of deception, and the sheer human will to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. It showcased the strength of international cooperation in the face of tyranny. Today, the landing sites, the solemn cemeteries, and the countless memorials across Normandy serve as enduring reminders of the profound sacrifices made on June 6, 1944. They call us to remember the cost of war and the unwavering pursuit of freedom. D-Day stands as a monument to human courage and the profound cost of global conflict. Its lessons resonate even today, urging us to remember the sacrifices made for peace, to continue exploring the pivotal moments that shaped our world. Subscribe and join our community dedicated to uncovering history's most profound narratives. What part of this incredible story resonates with you the most? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below.